Chapter 3. Persephone settled into the squeaky office chair and tried to scoot the chair into its proper position near the computer desk. This wasn't the first time she had encountered a computer with the keyboard shelf positioned too low for her body size. She took off the silk scarf she wore loosely around her neck and spread it on her lap. Then she picked up the keyboard, collapsed its short legs and back, and placed it on her lap as well. Sally had returned to the small computer room with her. She had, she had an unopened can of 7 Up with a plastic cup over the top, placed like a little hat, and most importantly, the Xerox copies of the hit payout list of for the numbers. So your name in here will be Lucy, and from now on, you can only be called Lucy in here, Sally said. That goes for all the other girls that work up front too. We all got fake names. You're gonna meet the other girls later, but okay, there's Sky, Mona, Beulah, and Sue. Sally looked at Persephone. Lucy, and saw the puzzled look on her face, then added, I know it sounds tripped out, but it's for your own protection. How? Persephone frowned and looked at Sally, trying to figure out what danger could befall her if she used her real name. Sally rolled her eyes in an irritated gesture. She could tell from her body language that she was borderline pissed. But you do understand that what we do in this office is illegal, Sally said, flashing her thick, long, possum like fake red nails as she emphasized her point with a snap of her fingers on the word illegal. That means it ain't smart for people to call on our phone lines, which might be tapped in. It just ain't good for them to say your real name over the phone lines. Understand? She was bobbing her head so hard when she talked, it made all 10 5 in each ear, from large to small, of her dolphin earrings jingle and jangle. Without a word further, she turned and left the room, slamming the door behind her. Mental note, thought Persephone. Don't ask difficult questions. Persephone's first day, the day before, had been spent working the phone lines, just in case she was ever to work the phones in the office. She'd have the experience. It was a Tuesday, the day Lucy was scheduled to take over on the computer. Persephone had long mastered the art of dealing with people with funky personalities, and usually humor was the best defense. She knew she could make Sally laugh easily enough from the first day they met. Now she had to keep that up for the next 9 months. That was Persephone's projected time it would take for her to get all her bills paid and all the weight off. So until then, on Monday through Friday, from 4 to 9 p.m., and on Saturdays from 5 to 9, Persephone thought she could deal. For $400 a week, tax-free, she knew she could deal. She'd received an 8-page letter from Jasmine 2 days before, and in it, Jasmine had written of all her new success in Germany. Jasmine wrote that she'd received 40,000 marks for just one recording session, as she went on about how they weren't that many soul singers in Germany, and she was staying very busy. She said there were a lot of black folks over there perpetrating entertainers, and all they did was get on stage and dance like Tina Turner on crack and sing badly. She said they would have been booed off the stage in the Apollo, but the German people loved it. She planned to move to Munich and said she'd probably shop for a 2-bedroom penthouse apartment, with one bedroom being reserved for Persephone when she came to stay. The letter oozed of good news. Jasmine also wrote that she'd received Persephone's letter one week before, She decided to write back, and Jasmine congratulated her big sister Almighty on her success with stand up. Jasmine was the only person Persephone had shared that secret with, knowing that Jasmine would be the only one that would understand. But the weight loss plans would, for now, remain her secret. Even though Ma acted as though she suspected something, Persephone wasn't admitting to anything. Things seemed to be looking up with the news of this job. 2 Saturdays ago, when Stephanie went to pay her numbers bill like she did every week, Thelma Jones, the numbers lady from up the street, questioned casually, "Baby, you know how to work computers, don't you?" This was after she had glanced over Persephone's usual list of pet numbers, which Persephone kept on hold with Miss Jones. Persephone's number bill usually averaged $30 a week, unless she called in with a hunch. "Yes, ma'am, that's what I'm looking for, too. I had an interview with this telecommunications company out in Southfield, but they act like a bunch of racists," Persephone answered. Baby, ain't too many white folks out there got sense enough not to be racist, but you shouldn't let them try to stop you. Miss Jones was trying to comfort her, Persephone guessed. It wasn't until she got the call from Roscoe, the man who ran the numbers house, 2 days later, that she realized that had their chat had really been about. Okay, so it wasn't a real job, no medical benefits, no social security savings, but it was an income. Yes, but it wasn't like she was dealing drugs. What she was doing, Persephone had justified to herself, was temporary and didn't hurt anyone. Unless you counted the compulsive gamblers that would give their entire paychecks to cover their number bill. This was her first day on the computer, and by 5:30 p.m., she was already 2/3 down with the bet sheets that had been faxed in earlier. Sally had put in all the whole tickets yesterday, and Persephone kept wondering what all the fuss was about in finding someone to do the computer job. It seemed so simple. Persephone could tell that neither Roscoe nor Sally had any computer knowledge, because when Persephone corrected one of the names in the book that had been saved incorrectly on the computer, they looked at each other and then at Persephone with a certain awe. Roscoe said something about finally getting someone there who knew what the fuck they was doing. The small office consisted of a big room up front that had 5 desks set up with phones. Thin wires led from the phones to a voice-activated tape recorder that automatically monitored each incoming call. The phone girls, they refused to be referred to as call girls, identified each caller by their code name and then would repeat each 3 and 4 digit number request, only saying the word repeat if they misunderstood a combination or amount. But not just anyone could call the office line. The average customer would have to go through Miss Jones, who was the bookie. Miss Jones would wait until she'd gotten all the calls she anticipated for the day and would call the office. But they also had to beat a 6:30 deadline. After 6:30, Sally or Roscoe would have to approve the bet being placed, which they rarely would do. So 6:30 was the deadline. Roscoe had at least 32 bookies calling the office. Each had a code name for the name of their book. Each averaged over 200 different number combinations. No bookies called in sheets lower than $300 every day.